Morning, everybody. How we doing? Well, some of you are going to be frustrated, but we're going to speak about it in today's show. Sam here, United People's TV. We're here to talk about all the latest United news, and I'm not going to sort of spend half an hour trying to piece together a show about a mini update on Wan Bissaka or Ligt or Mazraoui or Fofana or Zubimendi or Rios or Berge. Because truth be told, there's not too much of an update from yesterday. So I thought I'd take today as an opportunity to have a little bit of a community debate, if you want to call it that. A conversation around the summer so far, because there are some fans who are frustrated. Ineos, they're just another Glazers. Oh my God, they don't know what they're doing. It's awful. Erik ten Hag's going to be sacked. Why have we not signed 400 players? Some of it is quite funny. Truth be told, some of it is quite funny. But I want to have a little bit of a conversation with you this morning. I'm going to run through sort of the latest news, and then we're going to speak about reasons why I think people can genuinely be frustrated at the window so far, genuine justifications and concerns, and then a lot of the over-exaggeration. And I want to speak about both things. And yeah, you can fire in your comments, your questions throughout the show, trying to make it a little bit different. There's no point me giving you another show today on something that hasn't happened and another conversation about the same thing that we spoke about yesterday. I mean, you can if you want, but anyway, be a bit boring. Who's here from the Mod Gangs? Have a quick look. Jason McCarthy, good morning to you. Anuj, how you doing, buddy? Josh, I saw you there. T at the start of the show. Carl, you're there too. From the member gang, we've got Monty, we've got Ben, Steve Brooks, how you doing, buddy? Shaz, Tuntun, we've got Anthony, James Maycox, Mikhail, Daz, Haley, and Cameron. On Facebook, we've got Thando. We've got Onyi, Grant Stephen, and Augustine. Good morning to all of you. And Matt Frost, how you doing, buddy? The foot is annoying. Can somebody give me a new ankle and a new foot? 6 months into the rehab, I still can't walk properly, people. So much pain in the ankle joint. This is no joke, man. This surgery is no joke. I put it down like if you were to rupture an Achilles tendon, I think it would take you about 9 months before you could jog or run. I think I'm in the same thing. But it's annoying, still walking with a little bit of a limp every step. We'll get there. We'll get there in the end. Anyway, you know what I'm really annoyed about this summer? And I'm actually furious about this. I can't believe that Erik ten Hag hasn't hired... Did you see this? This made me laugh this morning. Basically, it's an article from The Athletic describing all the things that Arteta has done or Arteta is doing, right? And just read this. At a dinner with his players, Arsenal's manager, Arteta, hired a team of professional pickpockets to rob the players whilst they were sitting there at dinner. And at the end of the meal, he's like, David Blaine, everyone look in your pockets. Is there anything missing? And the idea was to teach us the squad the importance of being ready, alert, and prepared. Mate, I'm having dinner. Surrounded by people that I know. Why am I possibly going to think that I'm going to get pickpocketed? That just made me laugh a lot this morning, so I had to speak about this. So yeah, if there's one thing I'm annoyed about so far this window, I can't believe that Erik ten Hag hasn't hired a team of pickpockets to rob the players whilst they're having dinner in an environment that they consider extremely safe and secure. That, I tell you what, he's getting it wrong. Erik ten Hag's just getting it wrong. He's got to change that. He's got to go. Anyway, that's funny. A couple of you gifted a couple of memberships there at the start of the show. I'm Potato, I think you sent a couple in. Matt Giant, you sent one in as well. Thank you to you legends. Right, let's get into it. Actually, no, before we get into it, there's one more thing. One more thing. Nice little positive start to the day. Martinez and Garnacho were both given an award and a little presentation at Carrington in commemoration to congratulate them on the Copa America win. And that's them with their little commemorative plates. Big good little fruit bowl. Probably put your keys on that when you walk in the door. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, congratulations to both of them. And we spoke about this before the summer came up. And I said, look, if there's one place I would want Garnacho to go, in the Olympics or Copa America, it's like, I hope that he goes to Copa America. Sure, he won't play much, and he didn't play much. But the experience of being there, the experience of winning the last Copa America that Messi's going to win and being alongside him, being involved in the celebrations, all of that will help Garnacho mature so much. Because that's pretty much, what would you say? Is that the fourth biggest? Well, it depends on way out on how much you value club versus country. But that's one of the four biggest trophies that Garnacho can possibly win in his career. He's got the World Cup, the Copa America, the Champions League, and the Premier League. And well, I suppose you can put on La Liga. And anyway, as far as I say, right now, the four big trophies he could win. He's won one of them already at the age of 19. Come back to United this year, win the Premier League next year, win the Champions League, and in a few years' time, win the World Cup. Easy, done. Complete the set by what? 23? Probably not. Nah, definitely not. But anyway, congratulations to both of those. Start off with a positive note. But anyway, let's get into the main part of the show. I'm going to, I suppose, skim through the transfer news. And that's all we need to do with the transfer news. Just skim through it. There's not really too much of an update for you. Right? And let me bring this over here. Right. So this came out yesterday. Right? David Ornstein confirming that Real Sociedad are expecting Zubimendi to accept the move to Liverpool. It was only yesterday morning from, I think it was Paul Joyce from the Times, who first reported on Zubimendi, because Liverpool, they need a number 6. Now, he's got a €60 million release clause, and loads of United fans, why aren't United signing Zubimendi? That's what a real club would do. Anger, false anger. Frustrated. We're not paying a €60 million release clause if you need to pay it in full. I mean, we specifically did the opposite on Xerxes. We paid $2.5 million more, so we didn't have to pay it. And I very much doubt that Liverpool paid that up front either. And Zubimendi, for a lot of United fans, it seemed like the perfect person to bring into midfield. If I'm being totally honest, my biggest concern in terms of midfield, right, and my biggest importance for whoever this midfield signing is, they have to be really, really strong, as complete as possible out of possession, which might sound like a bit counterintuitive. That's where our issues are, man. I mean, there's more than one issue. We do need someone like Zubimendi who can build out from the back. But ultimately, I want that like elite, and that's why Onana for me seemed like the perfect match, the perfect fit for that midfield. I'm still convinced that Onana, Mainu, and Bruno would have been the perfect trio. But, Onana went for 50 million. And maybe Mats Vifa could have been good. He's gone to Brighton. But Zubimendi, I think United fans, because we have no player in that midfield right now, we can look at everything else and go, want that. And I've done that quite a lot at United. Because you kind of feel like you're desperate. I'm not saying that Zubimendi would be a desperate signing, because, I mean, it absolutely wouldn't be. It would be a very good signing. But at €60 million, I question that. I would question that. Someone sent the super chat there. Let me get this up. Akash is saying, I'll take this window so far. I think the super chat did. Over the one where we nearly panic signed Arnautovic. Jeez, remember that? And then all United fans got angry that we were going to sign. Was it racist? Was he racist? I can't remember what he did. He was just a bit of a sketchy human being. I think that's what we're going to call Arnautovic. But the lack of sales is a legacy of the previous regime, which will continue to buy it for a few years to come. We're going to be running through all these conversations in a little bit, Akash. But you know what I want to ask you, right? The reaction I saw to some of this yesterday. Liverpool, they're signing Zubimendi. That's what big clubs do. Can someone in the comments please tell me how many transfers Liverpool have completed so far this summer? All right? I'll wait for this one. I want you to tell me how many. By the way, I'm talking both. I'm talking signings or sales. How many have Liverpool completed? To the point where United fans are going to sit there and get angry that what Liverpool are doing. Lyle, straight there in the comments, right? They've not signed anybody. They've not even sold anybody. I mean, quite literally zero. De nada. Nil. Zilch. None. Liverpool haven't signed a player. Liverpool haven't sold a player. But all of a sudden, we're now going to look at Liverpool and go, "Oh, that's what That's what a big club does. It's like, it's painful. It's just funny. I mean, I'm guessing that means that Michael Edwards is abysmal at his job and should be sacked. I reckon that is as well. I mean, Liverpool definitely need to make that signing. Of course, their squad is probably a bit stronger than Manchester United. I think that's fair to say. I wouldn't say it's a totally different situation whatsoever. Jurgen Klopp has just left that football club. They are about to go into the toughest season that they've had in a long time. Question marks about absolutely everything. And they haven't made any signings. And it's the exact same squad as last year. I think you're massively underestimating what's going to happen at that football club this year. It may well work out for them. I really hope it doesn't. But don't worry, lads, because we are signing Frenkie de Jong. All right? We're signing Frenkie de Jong. All right? There's not even a chance that I'm going to put him anywhere past this linked board. All right? Frenkie de Jong's name has been on there as a preemptive expectation that at some point he's going to get linked to Man United. I think we said in yesterday's show, I said, so at what point is de Jong going to get linked? Yep, within 24 hours. I think that's what we said. But don't worry, lads, we're signing de Jong. All the problems are solved. But look, we spoke about Sander Berge a couple of days ago, and I did my full story on him. And I made it clear that this is a personal opinion, of course, but I think that Sander Berge is a signing that has been put forward by the data and recruitment team at United. Remember, Dominic Jordan actually left. He's a head of data. It'll be interesting to see who Ineos bring in, and they will bring someone in because data, you might not like it, all right? You might get frustrated when you see pie charts and you hear about stats and you hear about this and you hear about that. Data is so important when it comes to modern transfers. It's crucial. You might not like it, but it doesn't mean it's not important, all right? You've got the eye test, the scouts on the ground. It's how we spotted the likes of George Best and I'm sure tons of other players as well. The George Best ones always sticks in my head. I think Busby got a call and he said, I found you a genius. And he was right. So the eye test is still very important. But data helps clubs kind of siphon through a lot of top level stuff, and that's what the data can do. And in my opinion, that's why Sander Berge is getting linked with the club. Would I be moved by the signing? Do I think our midfield is going to be complete with signing Sander Berge? No, man. I don't even think our midfield would have been complete had we signed Manuel Ugarte. I still think that I would have wanted Manchester United to sign another big central midfielder next summer. But Sander Berge, we'll see. I can understand from a data perspective why it would make sense. And United would have to back themselves that they could coach him into being a better player in the environment of United. And of course, there's other names that are being linked, right? Richard Rios, after the Copa America with Colombia, he got linked. And that may well just be United scouts just watching Copa America, keeping an eye on those candidates in certain positions that we might need to make signings in. But nothing's really happened on that side. Yusuf Fofana, I've spoken about this before quite a few times. In my opinion, he really isn't like a balanced option to go in a midfield with Mainu and Bruno. I don't think he'd be a bad signing. But I would question whether the profile would match what we need with Mainu and Bruno. And it just really strikes me this summer, and I've already said this, whether it's Sander Berge, whether it's someone else, it strikes me that this summer is going to be where we probably get a bit of a stopgap in midfield. And that's going to annoy a lot of people. A lot of United fans would rather we went out and spent 60 million euros on Zubimendi, even if he wasn't the long-term solution and the perfect midfielder for this midfield. They would just want the best and they want it right now. Even if in a year's time that might leave us in a situation where we probably need another midfielder. But we just spent 60 million on one last season. We need someone, right? Everybody knows that. And in terms of De Ligt and Mazraoui, and I'll speak about Wan Bissaka next. Bayern Munich now on 25 mil for Mazraoui. Yeah, all right, lads. Yeah, good. Or you literally just agreed a deal with West Ham for 19.5 mil. So don't try and take the piss. That's how much he's worth. Here's the money. but United are trying to wrap it in. Maybe that's United have always felt that it would give them more power in negotiations by wrapping it into one deal. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, and in terms of Wan Bissaka, you're hearing from Mark McGrath from The Telegraph that West Ham are sort of looking at other options. The Wan Bissaka situation is all revolving around the payment that he wants to leave. And here we go again, Man United. I saw something from, was it? I can't remember his name. Was it Philip? Philip de Bruyne? I can never pronounce his name. Anyway, there was a suggestion that some players had contracts negotiated where if they extend by a year, they get a part of that fee. But Wan Bissaka hasn't extended, I don't think. Or maybe he has. I have no idea. Either way, the Wan Bissaka situation is kind of going a little bit... quieting down a little bit as well. Right? Let me go down here. Oh, Gled, thank you very much for gifting 5 memberships, dude. Come on, let's Brick Casemiro out. Let's cheer everybody out. Everyone's getting annoyed at my pronunciation to Sander. Berger. That didn't work. God damn it. I don't think that's connected. My bad. No Casemiro this morning then. Whoopsie. Right. Did Wan Bissaka get an extension last year? Could you imagine that's true? I mean, I imagine United's was so ill run before that they probably could have done it. Anyway, I've spoken at great lengths so far about this window, about expectations, about frustrations, and look, I think United fans have got real justification for some frustrations, which we're going to run through now in the debate. But I've mentioned this before, and I'm sorry to dig him out on this, but I've saw him do this on more than one occasion, right? Swedish Rumble. On more than one occasion, I saw like these real long, in-depth threads and stuff like that, right? That Manchester United, and to quote up there, that it would be a disgrace if Manchester United don't spend £400 million this summer, right? And I've seen this said quite a few times in so many different places. And it leads to an expectation among fans that Manchester United should be spending big and loads of money. And it's just really, really, really not hard to understand how bad the finances of our football club are. And I'm presuming quite a bit of this is going to be down to, you can amortise the cost of this, and if you sign a player for 18 million, you spread it over the 5 years, then actually you're only spending 12.5, whatever it was, man. And I'm guessing it's going to be looking at this is what Chelsea are doing. Oh, brilliant, let's the United do that. And I'm telling you, stuff like this has fed into a frustration because of expectation going into a summer. We were never, ever in a million years, spending anywhere near £400 million, right? And I'm not calling him out in isolation. I'm saying that is one of many a voice that has been saying such things. And it's just, I'm sorry, but if you think that, you just don't truly understand the situation that our football club is in. And that's what it is. It's down to a lack of understanding. And that's going to be part of where your frustration is coming from. Now, there's a couple of super chats here. Let me read these out, and a couple of gifted memberships, and we're going to dive into the debate, right? I'm Potato, how you doing, buddy? Some fans still think we can do our weekly shop at Marks and Sparks, where our reality is Aldi and Lidl until our books are balanced. Look, I love Aldi. Lidl, I can leave Lidl to the side. Aldi, top tier shopping. Although Marks and Sparks. Wait, Marks and Sparks or Waitrose? Anyway, you got me thinking about food now. I'm hungry. Halftime Oranges, thank you, dude. And Gary, you both gifted 5 memberships. All of you join into the Discord, please, because this is going to be an interesting one. Now, right, what we're doing with this debate is we're going to have 2 screens, right? One is going to be just a list, right? There's a couple of things I've put on here, right, about fair concerns I think United fans can have so far about the window, right? Let me resize that so it's a little bit more in the middle. Fair concerns I think United could have about the window. In my opinion, I think there's the lack of urgency over the midfield signing is a worry. And I think that's a fair concern. And United, the fact that we are still getting shafted by our own ridiculous wage structure that we've had at this club for so long is a problem. And I'm also going to have a second screen. Yeah, I call it exaggerated noise, right? Trying to point the finger directly at Ineos for our lack of sales. Well, look, Liverpool is signing Zubimendi. Why aren't we? I've already spoken about that there. And then that one there at the bottom. You wanted us to not overpay as fans. Now we're not overpaying. You're complaining that we're not signing quickly enough. And it's like, make your mind up. So I want you as a community to get in the comments now and fire it into the chat. These are two that I've put down, and I'm sure there's going to be more that you have. I'll go full screen on this one. So I put down a lack of urgency over a midfield signing and United still being shafted by our wage structure. What else do you think are fair concerns? I'm going to write these down. It doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to agree with them, but I'm just going to put down what the community thinks overall. Right? So fire them in. What do you think are fair and justified concerns about Manchester United's summer transfer window so far? All right? I'm listening. So get them in the comments. Let me have a drink. Come on, people. Danny, you're saying you're worried about it all, if I'm honest. Well, that's not going to help anyway. Chris, I think that's a justified concern. Season starts soon, and we're not fully prepared. Yeah, I think that is a fair concern. Lack of sales, says Ross down there. I think that's a fair concern. Making Ligt wait for weeks. Don't know what that one is. No experience, number 9. I'm going to put these down. Steve, you're saying main concern is lack of planning? I'm not sure that one's... I'm going to put a question mark next to that one. Lack of progress on alternative targets. Right. Injuries, is that coming? No, you can't put injuries down as a pre-season, as like a summer thing, right? We'll put that down there, right? That's a good old list. That's a good old list there, right? Lack of urgency over a midfield signing in terms of priorities, and United still being shafted by the wages. I'm saying that. Season starts soon. We're not fully prepared. I think that's fair enough. Lack of sales. Yeah, it is a massive concern. I think it's a fair concern. No experience, number 9. Honestly, and this is just a prediction, I don't particularly think we're going to play with like a number 9 this season. It's not the way that I think we're setting up. I think we're going to be going more the false 9 system, and I think that's going to suit the squad better. Lack of planning. You know what I would say is one? Fair concerns, right? The massive delays we had at the start because of Ashworth, Barada, and then Euro 2024 and Copa America. I think that's quite a big one, actually. That bottom one. And that's kind of outside of Ineos' control, right? I'm going to put it down as fair concerns, right? I'm going to go over here to exaggerated noise. Because I do think that United fans have some fair reason to be justified about their frustrations. But I also think that there's just a lot of hyperbole going around, man. There's a lot of pointing at other shiny things and going, "Why? Where's this shiny thing not coming to my club?" Right? And I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying. What would you say is sort of kind of exaggerated noise? Stuff that people are probably going overboard with, right? I think they're definitely going overboard, pointing the finger at, basically saying, "Oh, Ineos have caused all of this. They don't know what they're doing." It's like, you really don't know Manchester United, do you? You really don't know. I would say exaggerated noise. Well, I'm gonna wait down here and see what you're saying. What is saying it? The Sander Berge links. Being, I don't know, laughed at? Yeah, I reckon that's a fair way to describe it. Is that, I put one too many lines in there. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, God. Come on. Work for me. There we go. Right. Blaming Glaze for all the Ineos' mistakes. No big names coming in. United, oh, that's kind of the same thing. United should only be making elite signings. Right, that one there. Overpaying for Euro. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Ineos don't know what they're doing. The transfer window, man, it's like, look, with technology, with the internet, with channels like United People's TV, we've got, and with people like Fabrizio Romano, mainly Fabrizio Romano, the way that transfers are consumed is very different these days. And I really do try my hardest. It's why I only do one live show a day. Okay? One live show will just round up everything that's happened. And if there's live news if there's news that breaks, then we go extra with a live reactive show to that particular piece of big news. But because everything is sort of like, because the transfer deal is now broken into sort of, it seems with United like there's so many more swings in a transfer, and I think largely that's partly because of just the exposure that said transfer gets. Like if you look into something deep enough, you're going to hear about, and we hear about every whisper or everything. We hear about everything constantly 24 hours a day. Now, I do think there are real, genuine, fair concerns. Let me run through these again. Honestly, I think this one right here, ladies and gents, that bottom one from me, that bottom one is, I think it's one of the biggest underlying problems that we've had this summer, right? Because, yeah, I think it's a concern that we start the league season against Fulham next Friday and we've only got 2 signings and one of them's out for 3 months. So we've effectively got the same squad. But that there, the delays that we had in bringing Dan Ashworth in, our sporting director, he didn't start until the 1st of July. Sure, he was doing stuff on his burner phone beforehand, but he wasn't part of the club. He wasn't in the club. He wasn't speaking to people. Omar Barada didn't start our new CEO until the 13th of July. So the only person who was part of the new staff on that side was Jason Wilcox, who came in. This won't be a problem next summer. I think a lot of the frustrations that we're seeing this summer are going to be isolated to this summer. I think if we're in a situation where we're moving away from Ugarte, I think that would happen a few weeks earlier next summer. I think the delays are probably part and parcel of, it just feels like a timing thing. Like, that's the core of the frustration. If we were in this position where we're at now, and I suppose we were 2 weeks ago, we were in this position, I think people were slightly frustrated, but the fact that the window is now creeping up, well, the season is creeping up, that's why people are concerned. But I don't know, man. I think I've said this before and I'll say it again. If there was one thing that I wanted Manchester United to resolve this summer, it was just obliterating the concept of United tax, both with signings and with sales. With signings, the extra 5 to 10 mil that just got added onto a transfer fee just because it's Man United. And with a sale, Man United getting undercut with prices for players that we are selling. Now, we have done both of those things this summer. Jared Branthwaite was pretty much our top choice for a centre-back signing. Jean-Claude Todibo was a market opportunity, would have been like 30, 40 mil, would have been cheap, and probably would have been a very good signing. Jared Branthwaite, the club identified as the main target. And we went in with 45 mil, 43 mil. They said no. We went back in with 50 mil, and they said no. What did we do? Stay and negotiate with Jared Branthwaite all summer? No. We walked away from that a while ago. Haven't heard anything on Jared Branthwaite, have you? Because Man United moved on. Then we moved on to Matthias De Ligt. Was De Ligt next, or was there somewhere in between? Well, it was De Ligt and Yoro. And it was kind of like, is it one or the other? And we don't really know. And Yoro blew us all away and surprised us all. We managed to sign Lenny Yoro. It was considered a coup, and it was a coup. And then we moved on to De Ligt. And now De Ligt, we do not want to pay the price that we feel he is not worth, and we're not doing it. And with Scott McTominay, we all know that Scott McTominay is worth a minimum of £30 million. Minimum. However, I feel like United are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place on Scott McTominay. I don't want United to accept a low ball offer, but I also don't want United to be left without the resources that we need in order to have even a semi-successful summer. So it feels like, and we've done it with Van der Beek. We go over to the done board. I say this every time. We got rid of Van der Beek because it was better that we moved him on rather than keeping him in a squad when there was no place for him. And the same, in my opinion, goes for Hannibal. I don't think that United could even do that with Casemiro because I don't know what that would be. There's no one in for Casemiro. Scott McTominay is a situation where I think United are going to have to go, fine, right? And we're going to have to accept. What is their bid? 20 million right now? We want 20. I think we'd agree on 25, so probably it goes to like 22.5 maybe. Get the extra 2.5 in decent add-ons. But that was the one thing I wanted to be resolved this summer. And I'm telling you, people, it's going to lead to some short-term pain. And that's what this is. Right now, we are in the midst of short-term pain. Frustration. Oh, why are Liverpool signing Zubimendi? Why aren't United signing Zubimendi? Why didn't we go in for Calafiori? Why didn't we go in for all these players are getting linked that are going elsewhere that could do a job at Manchester United? We've got our targets, and people are saying, oh, Sam, it's frustrating that there's a lack of, Steve, you said, but the lack of planning, or we're not looking elsewhere. Look at everything that's happened with the centre-backs. Like, we had our main target, we had our second target, we had our third target, we had our fourth target, all the targets. Wan Bissaka and Mazraoui, well, that's getting currently blocked by Wan Bissaka's demands for a fee, but I hope that will get resolved. Central midfield, I'd say the concerns I have about central midfield, is it a lack of planning? I don't really know what Manchester United are looking for in central midfield. That's what concerns me, right? 3 players here. Sander Berge, Richard Rios, Yusuf Fofana. They're all very different types of players. Sure, they're all midfielders. They're all central midfielders. But their strengths kind of lie in different areas. Manuel Ugarte, someone who's a defensive workhorse but can't progress the ball forward. Zubimendi, somebody who... Frankie de Jong, not going to mention him. But that's probably where I'm concerned about Manchester United midfielders. It's like, it kind of looks like we're looking at different styles of midfielders. Whereas if we had just looked at Andre Onana and then Vifa and then Sander Berge, it would be like, well, you're the kind of same, you're the same, you're the same. Man United, the biggest problem we have this summer is that we are screwed by how little people want to sign the players that we want to sell, and B, actually having the ability to sell those players. And both of those are... No one wants Casemiro. Somebody wants McTominay, but they don't want to pay what we want. Wan Bissaka, the wages are blocking us from moving him on. Currently. Well, something to do with the wages and the fee, whatever that is. Same thing that happened last summer with Maguire. Like, this does not get resolved in one summer. All right? All the problems that our club has had, as much as I would love them to. But if you think that I'm going to... Look, in my opinion, there are two ways to approach this as a fan. You can be vocally and verbally frustrated, and you can spread that anger if you want to, and people will lap it up and people will agree with you. And that will in turn put more pressure on the club, because the media will then put more pressure on, because they'll use that and then they'll use it against the club. And in turn, you'll probably put a bit of pressure on the club. And you might be proven right. Or you can try and be a little bit patient and step back. And maybe you are frustrated, but you don't have to vocalize it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying here. Nothing negative happens to Manchester United if you're quietly angry. Pressure can go on the club if you're vocally and verbally angry and Ineos is crap, Ineos are terrible, United are abysmal, the transfer window is over. It's the 8th of August. There's still 23 days left. I think the biggest frustration that people can fairly have is around the timing of it all. And that's why I said that I think one of the biggest problems that we had this summer was the fact that Ashworth didn't start until the 1st of July. Barada didn't start until the 13th. And we had the Euros and Copa America. Just all those things haven't helped United, have taken time away from United where we didn't really have much. And I think that's it. But anyway, today's lunchtime video is going to be the City starting 11. That's when the season starts, isn't it? When you start doing starting 11 videos. Hey, look, ladies and gents, it is a glorified friendly. Right? It is a glorified friendly. And by the way, for that reason, I'm going to be pissed if I see Wan Bissaka start that game. Even though he's basically our only fit right-back option right now. We're trying to sell him. Do not start Wan Bissaka in that game. That's what I would say. Let me read some of your comments out down here. I kind of feel like I went on a spiel there. Neo saying patience is key. We need to look at the past 4 months behind the scenes. A lot of change has happened at this club. A lot of change. We're about to get probably a brand new stadium, which I'll speak about next, by the way. Just so much is happening. Are Ineos just the front men for the Glazers? It's like, could you imagine how hilarious that concept is? Jim Ratcliffe is worth more than I think every single Glazer combined. And that's just Jim Ratcliffe. Ineos are extremely successful businessmen. The Glazers are awful businessmen. If I wanted to, and I can't be asked to speak at them, but I could do such a good deep dive on how crap the Glazers are as businessmen. From their mall business out in America to everything that they have done with Tampa Bay and the fractured relationship they created there, and everything they've done at Manchester United. Man United was a cash cow. They had the golden goose. Man United are not successful because of them. It's in spite of them. And to think that Ineos are just the Glazers are just telling them what to do behind the scenes, and Ineos are just doing it. It's quite a funny concept. I appreciate that. Joe, how you doing, buddy? As long as we sign a DM and another centre-back and sell a couple more players in the next few weeks, I think walking away from deals is worth it for the future. There is still so much to do this summer. There really is. And this is where I said the frustrations are fair. But, yeah, well, I've run through all the mitigating circumstances and all the factors as part of it. But, look, feels like, I don't know, just wanted to say that because I think I just get frustrated when I just see everybody kind of moaning that and pointing at other people's shiny toys and going, why don't I have that? What is going wrong? Glenn, you're saying we do need players, but looking forward to a new coaching setup, bounce with Ruud and Rene, and the new goalkeeping and set-piece coach. Hey, look, City's going to be the biggest test for sure, and it's the perfect. You can't ask for a better pre-season test than City in the Community Shield in front of 90,000 at Wembley. It's the perfect end to the pre-season. Should be a game where we play the strongest team we can, although I don't know how fit anyone's going to be. A JM, look at that for a comment. At least we still have Cheeto. Bam. Man United negotiating the compensation fee with Arsenal. Happens with whenever a club makes an academy signing, or they sign somebody on a free who's played in a club's academy for X amount of years, that club will get a compensation fee. Very standard procedure. It's likely only going to be in the region of somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million max, covering the costs that Arsenal have put into training at XYZ over the years. But Obi Martin, down here, apparently it's going to be taking a few weeks. There you go. So there's the Premier League ratification process. We have got our video on Obi Martin ready to go. And I think you're really going to enjoy that one. No problem. He's passed his medical. That's all going to get done. Cheeto to start the Charity Shield. That'd be funny. Anyway, he's definitely an academy signing. If you want to watch Obi Martin this season, watch the under-21s mainly. That's where he'll probably be playing most of his games. I imagine he'll play some of the under-18s games. And maybe you can see him towards the end of the season sneaking into a matchday squad. That's what I would predict. We'll find out. Right, last 5 minutes of the show here today. We'll speak about this. And I'm not the only person to have said this, clearly, because Man United are deciding on doing it. But this is what I said should happen to Manchester United's stadium, right? Old Trafford. If Old Trafford is not going to be our ground, and Man United are moving on to a new stadium, a state-of-the-art, world-beating, best in the world, like Old Trafford was 20 years ago, like Carrington was 20 years ago, like Manchester United were 20 years ago. Best in the world. Not anymore. But do not knock Old Trafford down. Do not demolish it. Use that for the academy teams. Use that for the women's teams. And that's exactly what the suggestion is here. It came out yesterday from all the newspapers at the same time. The suggestion is this, right? We'll go down and read the article. The Man United would preserve Old Trafford in a scaled-down form, the capacity being reduced from 74,000 to around about 30,000 and used as a venue for women's and academy team matches. And therefore, Old Trafford and all of its history would be kept. As it should. Like, you've got the Munich plaque there. You've got Fergie's statue. You've got the Jimmy Murphy statue. You've got the Trinity statue. You've got all the memories that have been made there. And I wonder what that would even look like. How do you scale that stadium down? Do you bring it in from the top? Do you just get rid of one stand? Do you just close one stand? Because it's way too big and deep to be used for academy games and women's games right now, because it would just be way too empty. So I presume you reduce the depth of the stands and bring everything inwards. One tier, or I think you just like take the top tier off. Maybe it's that. Well, I don't know what it is. That would be one hell of a project, by the way. An exciting project, but one hell of a project. But that's what United need to do. If we're going to be moving into a new stadium, and we've got and Manchester United, by the way, are very, very fortunate. There aren't many clubs in world football who could even contemplate this idea, because they don't have all that land adjacent to Old Trafford they can build a new stadium on. And we do, and we can. But if that happens, turning that into a place where you can take your kids, you can take your grandkids, you can tell them about how you've seen United win the league there, you can tell them all the history that's built there. And I think something that I saw that was quite nice, the only part of that stadium which is original still is the tunnel that's on the halfway line. So Man United come out of the corner, right, next to Stretford end, between that and the family stand. The original tunnel is still on the halfway line. And I think, and they're saying that the tunnel was actually still intact. It's not like crushed or anything. So potentially Man United could bring that back and go back to the original tunnel. It'll be nice. I love history. I did a history as a degree. I did my dissertation on the Munich air disaster. Went up. I love that. I was so pissed off I got a 2-2 on that. It's when I fell out of love with the education system after that. Well, I fell out in love a little bit earlier than that. Anyway, education is important, kids. Make sure you go. Right. Teaching kids the right things here. But that's the right thing to do. Old Trafford should not be knocked down. Repurpose it. And I just like the idea of that. Everything right now is suggesting that is what's going to be happening. That there's going to be a new stadium and that Old Trafford is going to be repurposed. And I hope that's the case. In my opinion, I think that's the right thing to do for the future of Manchester United. I just think the idea of trying to gut Old Trafford and rebuild from within, whilst also, it's just, I think the scale of ambition wouldn't match what those foundations would allow. That's just what I personally think. Now, last thing I want to say before we wrap up today. If you haven't checked it out, I did a video yesterday. I do it once a year in the preseason. And I look at Manchester United's tactics and things that we've seen in preseason that look a bit different to what it was last season. And in that video, I looked at the pressing shape, the pressing system, the team shape overall and how we're building it out from the back with the ball and certain things about attacking patterns that I saw as well. So make sure you check that out. I hope you'll enjoy it. Last minute of the show, please fire in your questions or anything you don't think I've spoken about. As I said, it was a little bit of a different show today. I wanted to have a bit of a live debate. I think fans have got every right to be frustrated, but like you wouldn't write a film review before you've watched the whole film, would you? I mean, that'd be pointless. You haven't seen the ending. And that's what I think a lot of United fans are doing right now when it comes to United's transfer window. Like you're making a judgment call on how successful it has been when it hasn't finished. Now, that might require some patience. It might require some more frustration and probably some short-term pain. But I'm not judging the window until the end of the window. I'm not judging it on the 8th of August simply because we've got a game coming up. Let's find out. The museum will be in the new stadium. I think everything would stay in the old stadium, no? Why aren't there any more options available for a destroyer number 6, says Raghav? Well, I don't know. Well, United have identified Sander Berge as a player that they think could fit what we need. Do I think Ligt will come? I think Bayern Munich are overplaying their hand. I think Bayern Munich are trying to suggest, oh, there's so many clubs who are interested in him. Oh, we're not going to struggle to sell him. In reality, I've only seen United really linked with Ligt and heavily linked with Mazraoui now that he's moved away from West Ham. Let's find out. I think United feel that they've got some power and that might frustrate you. But then if United get Ligt and Mazraoui for the price that we want to get them at, and it allows us maybe a little bit of leeway to do other things, then that's what United will be doing. Transfer windows. They're great and they're frustrating at the same time. But my lunchtime video today is going to be the City starting 11 for the game on Saturday Community Shield. Make sure you check that out and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And thank you all for just engaging and firing in your comments. Take it easy.